Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you another first look at one of the new divisions in the latest DLC, Tribute to D-Day. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at the 6th Airborne, which is the second British division to be added to the game. And I am super excited to have a look at this division. It's one of the divisions that was one of my favourites in Steel Division Normally 44. It's very niche. It's going to be interesting to see how it's translated into Steel Division 2, whether or not it has any better capability at fighting over open ground. But if you'd like to read up on the description on the right hand side there, feel free to pause. I'm going to be jumping straight on in. Okay, look at this. The Recon Tab is massive with lots of options, loads of infantry. Damn, it's very weighted towards recon and infantry, so no real surprise there, but already, wow, okay, we've got Belgian troops. Very, very cool. Okay, we've got the carrier recce to start. This does come with a boys anti-tank rifle. Now, the anti-tank rifle's not as good as they used to be, but still something that might be worth messing about with. You get 8 of them in Phase A. It's an armoured unit with a Bren gun, so going to be difficult to get rid of early on. Then we've got the 2-man recon squads, Belgian 2-man recon squads. Not even going to try and pronounce that at the moment. But these can come in some interesting units. We've got the MMG carrier, which comes with the Vickers mounted on it. We've got the universal carrier, which is just the Bren gun. We've got the Daimler scout car and the Willies. Now the Daimler is actually quite nice because it's reasonably armoured and it has really nice speed, but it lacks the optics that the Universal Carrier and MMG Carrier have. So you can see the Universal Carrier here has very high optics, and so does the MMG Carrier, but the Daimler Scout Car only has high optics. But that does look very cool, and I'd love to see loads of these zooming around all over the place. Alright, then we got the Airborne Sniper. He is available, comes in with a 2-star veterancy, can be brought in with the 2-inch mortar carrier as well. That also has the very high optics there and good stealth. You can also get the Jeep Vickers as well. Look at that. Oh, nice. Very cool. What's the range on this thing? It's only 750 meters. Ah, that's a shame. Because if it was slightly longer than that, you could certainly make good use of this car. Which would have been really, really fun. It looks awesome. Really like the camo on it, and the camo on the guys inside, and the red berets. Nice. Right, then we have some Belgian Scouts. These again can come in with the universal carrier if you'd like. It does have Belgian crew, so that's really cool. But these are coming in Phase B. So it looks like most of the British stuff can come in Phase A, and then the Belgian stuff's coming in Phase B. It's kind of like backup, I guess. Oh, look at the new camo for the Daimler Little John. Very, very cool. That looks very nice. Now these AP shells, they actually have 130 millimeters of penetration and 5 damage. No way should it be doing that much damage. No way. These things could be potentially very powerful. That's crazy. Like, surely this 2-pounder is it's like bore, like a squeeze bore, isn't it? So it should be like similar to APCR rather than AP, but damn, that could be quite strong. Really high rate of fire as well. It's gonna be 17 rounds per minute rate of fire with the 1-star veterancy there. We've missed out on the Airborne Scouts. Another unit here comes with 2 Stens, 2 Leigh Enfields, Bren, and Gammon bombs. Can come in the universal carrier as well, but the British version. So that's very cool. Then we got the Tetrarch Little John. Okay, this is again very similar in terms of like the gun stats to the Daimler Little John, because it's the same game, right? Or it's the same game, same gun. Well, at least it looks similar. Yeah, again, it should be squeeze bore, right? So in theory, having 5 damage and 130 mils of penetration is actually kind of scary. I think these things at close range, depending on how fast the turret turns, could be a force to be reckoned with. And this one has 69% accuracy. I wonder what the fall off is actually. That might be something to be looking out for. The range fall off. So it's only got 1,000 meter range. and at closer ranges it won't increase penetration as much because it's a shorter range initially. But yeah, very cool. Then we have Pathfinders. These are 10-man squads, 3 Stens, 7 Lee Enfields. They come with the CMP transports. So the Pathfinders, these were guys that jumped before the main troops, I'm pretty sure, and they put down beacons to call in the other waves of airborne troops afterwards. But yeah, very cool that they are in the game. I'm not even sure where I'd start with this Recon tab. It's awesome. Okay, into the Infantry tab, and things looking even more spicy here. Love it. Glider crew going to be the first ones. 15 man or 15 point, 11 man, 12 availability, disheartened, mid-range infantry squads. This is kind of like giving the allies, as that's equivalent, 8 Lee Enfields, 3 Stens. Not as good as the disheartened US troops that we saw in the 2nd Infantry, but still pretty damn nice, especially since their availability is reasonable, especially early in the early game. And they come in with a CMP truck, which is actually pretty fast, 80 km/h on-road speed. And then we got air landing. Now, air landing were probably one of my least favorite units in this division, in Steel Division WD-44, and it looks like it's probably going to remain the case. The fact they have low numbers means they have terrible firepower to taking on enemy infantry, so they're basically a glorified Piat squad. Piats are unreliable at best, so I'm not a huge fan of these. I think, honestly, they're quite overpriced for what they offer as well, so yeah. You can get a lot of them, that's for sure, but not sure if it's terribly worth it. Let's have a look at the Grenadiers Vault here. I guess it's like Grenadiers or Voltigeurs. Not sure what that's supposed to stand for. But either way, these come in Phase B. You can get 18 of them on a card. You can get 12 if you upvet them. Honestly, upvetting these so you can make them 3-star veterancy might be quite nice because they have 2 machine guns and 6 Lee Enfields. So their mid-range capabilities would be pretty strong. Plus they have the Gammon bombs and they only cost 20 points. So if you compare this to, say, the air landing in terms of firepower, these are going to be way better. Obviously, you can only bring them in Phase B. But yeah, the air landing in Phase A. And these could be nice in a sense that you can take on enemy infantry early. But I think sort of mid to late game, the air landing is not going to be very useful. And then we have a Canadian leader, Airborne. That's cool. 3 of those. 2-star veterancy as well, with the larger radius for other troops. That's cool. Now, one thing I've just noticed, this thing has Willy Peak grenades, which are basically similar to Molotovs, I assume, in the way that they work. So, yeah, that's pretty nice for supporting your infantry early on. Then we got the Canadian Powers. Again, more Willy Peats. So, these could be pretty damn good, and you can get 9 of them in Phase A with the 1-star veterancy. You got the Molotov kind of weapon there. These are looking really, really nice. It's a shame that the UK infantry so far is a bit lackluster, but these Canadian Paras looking really good. The Belgian stuff looking really nice. Let's move on to the Airborne Engineers. Okay, this is starting to get a bit more better for the British troops. You've got 8 Lee Enfields and the Stens, but saying that, I'm not sure this synergizes too well. You've got the satchel charge, explosive, but then you've got close range or like medium range weaponry to go with it, which is a bit annoying. It's kind of like having a Pioneer squad that's worse. So the Pioneers in the Axis side are pretty nice because they have an MG42 and they have Kar98s plus the MP40. And in general, those weapons are better than the Sten, Lee Enfield, and Bren. Like Kar98s, I think are similar to Lee Enfield in terms of power. But the Sten's worse, I think, than the MP40, and the Bren is definitely worse than the MG42 in game. So you've got kind of less firepower, and you're probably paying the same price as a Pioneer squad, but you do get 1 extra man, I suppose. Okay, then we got the British Airborne Leader. It comes with gammon bombs instead of Willy Pete. I think Willy Pete's definitely going to be better in general for your leaders. Then we've got the Airborne Powers. Now these were sort of your staple close range infantry for the Division Omni 44. In this case, it looks like they've been kind of stripped of maybe a couple Stens and given more Lee Enfields, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think I'd prefer them to have more Stens and less Lee Enfields. But then again, I guess they're reasonably balanced in terms of firepower, but that's not necessarily a good thing. Generally, it's better to have specialized infantry. That's why units like the Gonostroki in the 126th aren't terribly effective, because they lack the effectiveness at range and they lack the effectiveness at close range. They can do pretty well at close range, but it requires that sort of niche moment where you're on the edge of heavy forest killing things in light forest or that has no cover. You can do a lot of damage then, but before that happens, you're going to be in a bad spot. So yeah, this is interesting. I'm not a huge fan of the British troops. The Airborne Engineers are okay, but not as good as the Belgian and Canadians so far. And then there's going to be a Belgian leader. This one comes with a Piat and 4 Lee Enfields. I like that it's all Lee Enfields actually. That would be nice to sort of manage the range engagements and smoke as well. That's actually really good. Yeah, that's a nice setup. I like that a lot. Rifle leader, not so great. 2 Stens, 2 Lee Enfields, Piats. Yeah, it's not good at all. Then we got the Airborne Powers with Piats. Okay, so what's the difference here? You've got less Stens and more Lee Enfields, and one of your guys is carrying a Piat, and you've got 2 Bren guns. Now these could actually be pretty strong. Well, really strong actually, at the sort of mid-range engagement. Yeah, damn, early game these could be scary. So, happy about these. Oxen Bucks. These have 2 Brens, 5 Lee Enfields. Again, another really strong unit by the looks of things. That's cool. And these come in phase A. You get also the Geballte Ladung, which is the German HE grenade. Nice big chunky one. Probably completely butchered the pronunciation, but either way. Yeah, happy with these for sure. And look at that. We're finally through the infantry tab. There is a lot of really nice, cool infantry in here. And I like that they've incorporated the Canadians and the Belgians into the 6th Airborne to give them a bit more substance. Because I was really, really worried, like, looking into this division, whether or not there would be enough stuff to make them effective in a long-term battle. You know, I didn't want them to be, like, super specialized for, like, early gameplay, because otherwise that would probably limit them to being used in 1v1s. But it looks like maybe there's a bit more longevity to them, especially in that infantry and recon tab so far. Now the tank tab, first of all, we have the Tetrarchs. So we saw the Tetrarch Little John in the recon tab, but it looks like the normal Tetrarchs are in the tank tab. Get command Tetrarchs. They don't have a lot of penetration, 75 mils of penetration. But they do have that really crazy rate of fire. And one problem that these did have, I think I kind of mentioned it before, but the turret doesn't turn too fast. I'm not sure if that's the case in this game, but in Steel Division Omni 44, they used to have trouble aiming fast because of the turret being in a, like, if it was looking in the wrong direction, it took ages to turn it onto target. So hopefully that's not so much of a problem, but yeah, I'm not entirely convinced how strong these are going to be. Cromwell, however, hello Cromwell, welcome to Steel Division 2. 45 points, 90 millimeters of penetration, not as much as I expected actually, but 8 damage on that AP shell, wow. 46% accurate, 7 round per minute rate of fire. These could be pretty good for taking on Panzer IVs for sure. Might even one-shot Panzer IVs if you crit, especially considering they have 8 damage. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed with the penetration values on these. But I think they'll be okay. They'll be nice infantry support for sure, especially with the 2 machine guns and HE. So that'll work out at least. And then we have the Challenger. Now you can get Challengers only in Phase C, and you can get 8 of them. And these have a 17-pounder mounted in the turret, which gives them the 170 millimeters of penetration. The fact they're on an armored hull is actually going to make them pretty damn scary to deal with. This is something that you could really rip apart Panthers with if you had it in the right spot. Give it some veterancy as well. I don't know if you'd want to up-vet it in the deck, but you'd certainly want to get 2-star veterancy on it in-game. So that you can do plenty of damage there. Yeah, this is awesome. Like it a lot. Okay, onto the support tab. So we have here the 2-inch mortar. The good old 2-inch mortar. Not terribly effective, unfortunately. Can provide smoke at close range and reasonable fire, but the range is what lets it down. It can get killed off by machine guns before it even gets in range itself. Flamethrowers. You got the old curly tank on the back there. The Lifeboy flamethrower. Very cool. But yeah, these are going to be just the same old sort of flamer squads that we're used to seeing. We've got the Jeep supply. So you can bring in Jeeps with less supply, but obviously you can spread them out a lot more. Then you've got the Vickers HMG, 1,200 meter range. It's probably similar effectiveness to a Maxim, so not terribly good. And what's the difference between these? Well, one's just Raiders and one's not. You might be seeing this Raider trait popping up. It's the same as the 126th Gornos. Basically, they don't suffer suppression penalties when operating behind enemy lines. It says they're on the tip, the tooltip. Do get some Bedford supply vehicles. There's going to be 3 of those. And we do see the Centaur as well. The Centaurs, they have the potential to be pretty useful, actually, for helping pin down infantry and killing support weapons at range. They do have 85mm of frontal armor, so they'll be able to bounce probably most AT guns. Well, Pack 36s, Pack 38s maybe at max range. So that's where you're probably going to be using them. 2,000 meter range on them themselves is really, really nice. And 6 round per minute rate of fire isn't terrible. Availability is a little low for the card, but they probably didn't have much of them in real life, so that's fine. We do, of course, have the commander here. British commander in a Jeep. And then we have the Belgian commander in a Dingo. Cool. Alright, so I'm over to the anti-tank tab. We got the Airborne Piat. Of course, the classic Piat squads. That, yeah, generally haven't been very effective in the past. We got the 6-pounders in there. These 6-pounders will be vital in the early game for sure. The captured Pack 40. Good to see that in there. 2-star veterancy in phase A. I'm not sure that this will be used too often, just because of its limited number of availability, but interesting flavor to add to the division for sure. And then we got 17-pounders in B and C available as well. And you got 3 cards of those, so plenty of cards to break down enemy armored pushes. Okay, anti-air is looking very, very slim. Do have access to Polstons though, and quite a lot of them. Now these are 40 points. You only get one of them. It's basically just a single 20mm firing into the sky. I'm not sure these are terribly effective. I guess they're going to have similar effectiveness to the flak 20mm that we've seen on the Axis side of things. For the Tripolstons, however, these will certainly do plenty of damage. Only issue being is you don't get very many of them at all. And you can get some Belgian Polstons coming in on the CMP truck, but they're only in phase B. I'm really not sure what you'd do. I guess the nice thing about the Polstons is they will be pretty decent versus ground forces as well. So that's something. But availability is going to be crazy limited on the anti-air tab. Artillery tab. Very, very limited artillery tab. We've got the 3-inch mortars here in phase A. You got the M1 howitzers as well. You actually get 5 of those in phase A. Wow. Oh, very nice. 75mm howitzer with the 34% accuracy. I think these could actually be really, really useful. What sort of damage do they have in comparison to mortars? The mortars have 4 damage. These only have 3.75 damage. It's not that much of a difference. I think these would be really, really nice to have in the early game. There is 25 pounds available in phase A, B, and C from the Belgians. And then you've got access as well to off-map. There's going to be 203mm off-map in the Vickers here. Or Universal Carrier, sorry. And then you've got the Willies with the 381mm naval off-map. Oh boy. So this is going to be the same sort of stuff that the Canadians can fire. Wait, it has smoke rounds as well? Does that mean you can do smoke barrages with that? That's pretty cool. If that's the case, I'm very much looking forward to trying that out. But yeah, I'd much prefer 203mm off map just for pure saturation, but 381mm off map with smoke, that could be really cool. Let's jump into the air tab. So first of all, we have the Recon Aircraft, the Ulster Mark III. This thing, I don't think we're going to see much use of it, but cool that it's in the game. We've got the Mosquito here. This will probably be used a lot more, honestly. It does have reasonable availability, only 35 points. And you've got the really good speed and medium resilience as well to go with it. So yeah, this could be a much better Recon aircraft than the Ulster. Then you got the Mosquito Fighter, the FB6. This comes with 4 20mm in the nose and 4 30 cals. I have seen Mosquitoes before, of course, in the Canadians, so nothing crazy new here. 6 100kg bomb payload, of course. There's going to be the Napalm variant with the 4 Napalm bombs. That can be good for cutting off reinforcements. You've got 2 cards of Tempest. I do really like Tempest, especially now that fighters have got their fix. So these are really, really strong. There's going to be a Tempest as well with 2 100kg bombs. I'm not sure the 100kg bombs are really very good. These are the like 2 100kg bombs. It's the difference between like getting 4 damage on a unit and 5 damage on a unit. When it comes to like AT guns and infantry guns, that's kind of annoying. And I think the 110kg bombs are the first kind, which only do the 4 damage. Whereas you need something with a bit bigger payload, something like this with the 230kg bombs in order to kill a support weapon with 1 run. Now, since these have 610km/h speed still and the medium resilience, I reckon these Tempests could be really, really useful. That's really cool. Definitely probably going to play around with those. And of course, we do have the Typhoon Mark 1B with the good old AT rockets. These things are going to be killing tanks all day long, as long as AA isn't too obnoxious on your opposing side. But yeah, I think the air tab's pretty standard. It's basically exactly what we expected. Surprised there's no Spitfires actually. But yeah, the Tempests and Mosquitoes very welcome. Let's go through it and start to put together a bit of a division here. Now, I reckon this division will actually do pretty well in balanced deployment type. It could also do pretty well in flatline, I reckon, just because you're not going to have as much longevity as some of the Panzer divisions on the Axis side. So pushing for like an early play would probably be better. Anyway, probably not worth bringing these in. Probably not worth bringing in the carrier recce at the moment. You could bring in some snipers early on. I'm not sure if it'd be worth using them in carriers because you want them to get to the front line pretty quick. The Jeep with the Vic is such a shame that this doesn't have a little bit extra range. What I'd really, really like with these Jeeps is if they made it like 800 meter range rather than 750. So it had that slight range advantage on infantry to stop them from just being absolutely wrecked instantly. But yeah, unfortunately that's not the case. It's just the standard Jeep there for the sniper. Probably going to bring in a second card of those, or maybe even a third card. We'll bring them in phase B as well. The Belgian Scouts, probably not worth bringing in. The Airborne Scouts, probably not worth it either. Then it just comes down to the Little John. I definitely want to try out the Tetrarch Little John, and we'll probably get the Daimler Little Johns in here. I think these are going to be pretty strong, so we'll bring them in B and C. And then we'll have Pathfinders as well. So Pathfinders in A, in B. I think that's fine. I mean, I could even throw the Pathfinders to C, actually. That might be better. These are nice, strong infantry squads due to the Willy Pete there, I think. Okay, now into the actual infantry tab. We'll bring the glider crew in phase A. I will bring a card of air landing in phase A. We'll bring these boys in phase B. It might be worth upvetting them just because of the pure amount of infantry that you can get. And making these 3-star veteran at sea will be really, really nice. You can actually get 2 cards of those. Don't mind if I do. Okay, as for the Canadian Powers, you can actually get some of these in phase A, so we'll bring those in. And the Canadian Leader is also at phase A. So that's kind of like our close range, the Canadian Powers. And then the rest is support there. Then you've got Belgians coming in phase B. Definitely want the Ox and Bucks. You can bring them in at 2-star veteran at sea and only lose 1 availability, so we'll probably do that. And then the Airborne Powers, we can bring some of these in phase B. Now, this is going to be interesting because you actually are kind of forced to bring in some units in certain phases. So in terms of deployment type, it might make things a bit odd. You can get a lot of these in phase C though. Wow. 27 Airborne Powers. And the Airborne Engineers, you can also get them in phase C as well. That's so much infantry, it's kind of ridiculous. Maybe having these in A as well. No way. We've already got 5 cards in phase A plus the Recon tab. And there's no way I'm going to use that much infantry. Alright, we'll leave it at that for now. I do kind of feel like I'm missing out on maybe using these cards. But we're so limited as to where we can have them. I mean, it's basically the same as this squad except for it has a Piat, right? Let's drop one of those and we'll put one of these in phase B. Yeah, okay, let's do that. Okay, tank tab. Definitely want the Cromwells. In terms of veterancy, we don't lose too much from upvetting them. I might bring those in phase B with upvet. We'll definitely bring the challengers in phase C. Do I need the Tetrarchs? We've only brought in 1 unit of leaders so far. I think the command Tetrarchs might be pretty useful. But then again, you do get a lot more normal Tetrarchs. It depends how good these are. I really kind of want to try them, but I think, honestly, it's probably a waste of 3 activation points. Support tab. Go through this. We'll probably just want to stick with Bedford supplies. Although you only get them in phase B and C. Get 8 of those in phase B. That's 40,000 supply rights. That's technically the same amount. I think I'm going to go for deep supplies in B. And we'll go for that in C. Because that's the same number of supplies, it's just you can split them up and move and have multiple in different areas, which would be useful for having artillery spread out, especially like mortars, since we're going to be using unarmored mortars. I don't think there's really much use for the Flamethrower, just because in this division you have so much decent infantry anyway. It kind of seems like a bit of a waste. Definitely need the commander. Centaurs might be something to consider. Having those in A might be quite good support. And we got anti-tank, definitely 6-pounders. 6-pounders are the best here. We'll bring in both of those cards in phase A and B. Probably could do with a card of 6-pounders in phase, or 17-pounders in phase C. Might bring in another card of 17-pounders there, but not sure. For Polstons, we'll bring in 4 of those in B, and we'll have Polstons in A. And then I guess that is about it. It's kind of rough. I really kind of want to put a point into Or put a card into the anti-air at the end there. But being able to have another card of Polstons would help out so much. Right, I'm going to be bringing in these boys, and we'll bring in the off map. Don't know if I want... Let's go for phase A 381 mil, because it does have the smoke available. So that will help with like initial pushes, and we'll bring in the 203 in the late game. I don't know if we need any like persistent artillery. If we do, we can bring in 25 pounders. I might do that for now. Let's go through the air tab and see what we're left with. So probably want to try out these bombers. How many of these bombers do you get though in comparison? Oh, you actually get 3 of those in phase A. And they more or less maintain their agility compared to the normal Tempests. So I think I might bring those in. I don't think these are really worth it, these Mosquitoes. This Mosquito might be good though. Phase A, you get a lot of planes. Phase B, we want Typhoons for sure. And then we've got like one more card left that I could bring in, maybe some of these. I mean, we could go for the Napalm Mosquitoes in phase A, actually. I think I might prefer that. So yeah, we'll try out these. I think they're going to be, like I said, they're going to do 4 damage to support guns and leave them alive most of the time. But if that is the case, we can always upgrade to these 230 kilogram bombs and lose some availability. Yeah. All right, that looks okay. It's a bit rough. It's very rough, actually. This division, I'm not convinced that I've really put this together very well. So bear that in mind if you plan to copy anything that I'm doing. But yeah, I think this division, it has probably got the most flavor of any division we've seen so far, like in terms of new units and just a difference in playstyle. I think this is going to be super infantry focused, making sure you get value out of like the really obscure units like the Tetrarchs and the Little Johns and just like the Pathfinders and stuff. Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. It's amazing how many cards I have in the Recon tab. This must be the most Recon I have in any division ever. Oh well, there we go. 6th Airborne in a nutshell, I guess, in Steel Division 2. That's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I really like this division a lot. Hopefully you guys do too. I will see you guys next time where we'll be taking a look at another Axis division. Goodbye.